Helens at the top. They must win today at Central Park against Bradford Northern. St Helens' win against mighty Wigan over Christmas kept the championship alive. The heaviest defeat in 20 years proved to the rest Wigan are not invincible after all. But when the chips are down, Wigan have the men to pull them through. And 2 weeks ago, the Regal Trophy ended up at Central Park after the victory over today's opponents, Bradford Northern. Wigan might have stuttered, but they're still on course for their Grand Slam. They have the big stars at Central Park, and Jason Robinson's one for the future. They had to beat Wakefield on Wednesday to keep in touch with Saints, and this Frano Botica try was typical of the Wigan style that's won 3 titles in a row. Mind you, Bradford have had their moments too, and at Knowsley Road in November they gave the Saints their heaviest beating of the season. Steve McGowan celebrates 10 years at Odsal in May. They're on course for their best finish since they won the title in '81. They too had a good win in midweek. Injury had hit them hard, but they still had too much for Hull, and Steve McGowan was again at the heart of their attacks. It was a win that took Bradford into 4th place in the table. Wigan a 2nd, so who'll pick up the points today? Wigan won this corresponding fixture last season to clinch the title. They hope 2 points today will take them towards retaining it again. This is the side that Wigan hope will bring home those 2 points. Steve Hampson is the full-back. On the wing, watch out for teenage sensation Jason Robinson. He's in 2. In 3, it's Dean Bell, the club captain. Andrew Farrer misses his first match for Wigan, so Joe Lydon fills in 4. And Martin Afire is on the wing in 5. Frano Botica with 103 goals and 252 points to his credit is the standoff half. Sean Edwards, the country's leading try scorer, is the scrum half in 7. Kelvin Skerritt is the prop forward wearing 8. The man signed from Rochdale fills in for the injured Martin Dermott at hooker, Martin Hall. Andy Platt completes the front row, he wears 10. Dennis Betts is in the 2nd row, he's in 11. And Ian Gildard comes into the side. Billy McGinty is injured, he's in 12. Phil Clark is the loose forward to complete the lineup for the Wigan coach in his last season before heading off to Auckland, John Money. Bradford Northern getting the last words of wisdom from their coach, Peter Fox, in the dressing room here at Wigan. 4th place in the table. Can they improve the record here today? The veteran, Keith Mumby, is 36 this week, and he is the fullback. Dio Powell comes into the side on the wing, he wears 2. Steve McGowan with 16 tries, the leading try scorer for Bradford Northern, is in 3. Australian Tony Anderson is the other centre in 4. And the former Huddersfield man, Richard Darks, is the winger in 5. Neil Summers having a wonderful season, he's the standoff half in 6. Alongside the Kiwi international David Watson, the scrum half, wearing 7. Bradford Northern's captain David Hobbs is the prop forward in 8. Brian Noble returns to the side, he's the hooker in 9. Roy Powell completes the front row, he is in 10. Adam Boothroyd spent 7 years at Huddersfield. It's his 2nd full game for Bradford Northern, he's in 11. Carl Furbank is alongside him in the 2nd row wearing 12. And David Heron is the loose forward. And the Bradford Northern coach, the one and only Peter Fox. An important match for Wigan. 6 points adrift of St Helens up there at the top of the Stones Bitter Championship table. 3 games in hand. Substitutes on the bench for the 2 teams, Sam Panapa and Neil Cowie, 2 players of international class. And for Bradford Northern, it's Roger Simpson and Adam Greenwood. Bradford Northern come onto the ground where they were beaten 50 points to 8 last season as Wigan clinched their 3rd title in a row. 2nd match in the cherry and white hoops for Wigan for Martin Hall, the man signed from Rochdale just before the Challenge Cup deadline, and he takes over from the injured Martin Dermott, who is out with elbow problems and probably missing for the next 5 or 6 weeks. Keith Mumby, 36 years old this week, 11 caps for his country, the last though way back in 1984. He's returned to Odsal on loan from Sheffield Eagles, and he's played in the last 4. And he's a man who played in the last Bradford team to win in league football here at Central Park way back in 1988. Jason Robinson will be keeping his fingers crossed tonight that he is named in Malcolm Reilly's under-21 squad that will be named tomorrow. the test matches coming up against France, and Jason Robinson, with the form that he's showing this season, surely is someone who will take his place in Malcolm Reilly's team. Robinson, only 18 years old, 7 tries to his credit already this season. Match referee is Jim Smith from Halifax, 48 years old, 10 years at the top. His best year came in 1991 when he took charge of the Challenge Cup and the Regal finals. So they've packed into Central Park for this one, the match that could well have been off because of Wigan's proposed involvement in the World Sevens that have taken place in Sydney. Wigan eventually deciding to play the match anyway, and we all know what happened when they submitted their team sheet for the World Sevens. The Australians kicked them out of the competition, and so it's virtually a full-strength Wigan side, injuries apart, that is on duty here this afternoon as Steve Hampson gets us underway in this first half. Big match for Wigan, Mike Stevenson. Big match too, though, for Bradford. They're in 4th place, and they're not doing so badly in this first division.
No, the one thing about Bradford they've got to do, can they play as well without their maestro, Derek Fox? Well, we'll soon see as the game evolves there. But interesting thing about the Wigan side, Eddie, I just feel that they want to show to their fans that it was the right decision, really, to not send a full-strength squad on those sevens. And I think that we might get some real champagne football from them.
Steve Hampson under pressure from 3 Bradford Northern tacklers. The winger Dio Powell was one of them, and this is Philip Clark. Talking about those World Sevens, of course, Bradford Northern with a team of Medley, Clark, Shelford, Fox, Marchant, Caudle, Hamer and Kebby, who are all out injured, could well have taken part in the World Sevens themselves. As it is, they're here, and they're taking part in this important league match, and this is Richard Darks, their winger, making a bit of progress towards the Wigan quarter line. Watson now and Heron. Watson taking over again. He finds McGowan. Tall, striding Steve McGowan. Remember the hat-trick he scored in the match at Knowsley Road in November. Watson, the dummy half, turns it this way towards David Hobbs. Hobbs straight into Martin Hall. Welcome to the big league, Martin Hall. Carl Fairbank. This is a good run from Fairbank. And that was good cover tackling by Frano Botica, the standoff half.
It had to be as well. That was a great run by the second rower.
David Heron bringing play underneath the Wigan posts. Brian Noble is the dummy half. He finds Watson. Watson, an elusive character, and he had Hobbs steaming up on his inside. Just elected to hold on instead.
He tried to get that ball away, did Watson. He's a key man for Bradford. He had a tremendous game against Wigan in that final, of course. But he tried to get that ball away. Really a bit of a wasted effort, but he's a key player.
There's a key player for Wigan too. We talk about Jason Robinson on the other wing. We can't forget Martin O'Fire. And this is Ian Gildart. Ian Gildart, second row, missing 6 months with injury, but he's now figured in 5 of the last 6 matches. Dennis Betts gets it away to Phil Clark, to Joe Lydon, to Botica. Botica to Noble on this near side. Oh, the young winger, Dio Powell, collected the loose ball and then slid into touch.
Unfortunate there for the youngster Powell. There you can see, that'll give Wigan the head and feed, really from a bad mistake by Wigan. Botica was looking for the man outside, and I'm afraid he wasn't there.
Botica misses out Lydon and finds his captain Dean Bell. By the way, just mentioning those World Sevens, you'll be interested to know that Eastern Suburbs picked up the £50,000 cheque in Sydney earlier today. They are the new World Sevens champions. These were the former World Sevens champions, Wigan, and they're in possession now with Botica. Botica to Platt. Good tackling by Hobbs. With help from the winger Powell as well. This now is Kelvin Skerrett. The head just shot back then under the challenge from Carl Fairbank. Edwards wearing a scrum cap. This is Philip Clark. He's in a scrum cap too.
A little bit of panic football there, trying to keep that ball alive, a little bit too fancy. Really wasn't on there. The loose forward Clark trying to get the ball to Betts. Wasted opportunity.
Sean Edwards wearing 7 and in the scrum cap. Not seen him wear one of those before. And someone else in the scrum cap is Neil Summers. So it's catching on, isn't it, the headgear, the protective headgear, no wonder.
Well, there's been quite a few knocks, and especially as we come into the end of the season. And rightly so, a lot of the doctors are advising the players, if they have taken a bit of a knock in the game before, to get that protection. That is wise thinking.
Adam Boothroyd, the man in possession, that was Noble at dummy half, Heron, and it was into no man's land, and mistake there from Summers. Was it a knock on? No, referee says it went back.
And rightly so by the referee, Jim Smith. Ball just going behind Summers there.
Furbank with the run. Watson and Hobbs will kick downfield. Oh, and it's not a bad kick either. Greasy top, just took a little skim and found touch.
Experience there from the prop forward, David Hobbs. Excellent kick, right into the position. Steve Hampson, no chance to cut that off.
5 minutes of this match gone then. Still 0-0. Edwards feeds the scrum. Gets possession from it. Clark, the dummy half. O'Fire now. They know all about Martin O'Fire. O'Fire scored 5 tries in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup against Bradford Northern last season. Good run from Gildart. Martin Hall to Edwards, to Andy Platt. Clark. Tackled by Hobbs, not completed. It is now by Heron. Hall dummy half to Edwards. And up and under from Sean Edwards. A tester. Oh, and Bell came thundering through on that, but it was well taken. Mumby the man.
Great take by the experienced fullback Keith Mumby. As you mentioned, Eddie, Wigan skipper Dean Bell was going like an express train for him. Cool, calm and collected was Mumby then.
Noble from dummy half. Bradford Northern starting again from midway inside their own half. Furbank greeted by Platt and Dennis Betts. Here's Watson. That's the last one. Bradford still in their own half. Hobbs will kick to relieve the pressure. Hampson had positioned himself well, and he will run it back. Go through Powell and McGowan. O'Fire at the dummy half.
Both sides just testing each other out, trying to get the superiority in the forwards.
They're watching O'Fire like hawks, aren't they?
Well, I realise that O'Fire's been having to come in looking for possession. Obviously a ploy by their coach, John Money, asking O'Fire to get himself more involved into the game.
Edwards. It's a good scampering run from Sean Edwards. Well watched. Adam Boothroyd getting through some good work in the tackling early on here. Lydon. Edwards again. Angle kick. He was clobbered by Neil Summers as he made that kick. Referee Jim Smith unimpressed. Mumby running it out.
Oh, there was nothing in this really. He committed himself, just put the shoulder through. Keeps the crowd happy, perhaps.
Edwards fit and carrying on. No problems. Didn't even need any treatment from club physio Dave Fever. Watson, the dummy half. This is Mumby again. Mumby, the evergreen, 36 this week. Second spell at Odsal. Nice little reverse pass. This is Boothroyd on the run. Noble, the man in support.
Good play there by Neil Summers, bringing the second row of Boothroyd through.
And what happened there? The referee says that Wigan stripped the ball from the Bradford Northern player in the tackle. Not allowed. Penalty Bradford.
You'll see on the replay. I think he just lost that, did the hooker, Brian Noble. There wasn't a Wigan player anywhere near him. Lucky to get away with that one.
Jim Smith had a look at his touch judge. Touch judge nodded and Jim Smith gave the penalty. Bradford then have another set of 6 here. This is Roy Powell. Good tackling by Gildart. Bit of help from Phil Clark coming in as well. David Hobbs now.
Bradford appearing quite content to use a big forwards, try to get the gap through the middle.
Heron gets it to Furbank. Roy Powell now will take the ball up all day for Bradford. Watson coming this way now, shrugging Edwards off. Can't get away from Philip Clark though. That's the last tackle. Heron. Bradford having the confidence to run it with Boothroyd. Getting to within 10 metres. The ball comes out, it went back. Powell, Wigan were lining up then for the turnover and the play of the ball. They can line themselves up again now. But the ball did come out and went backwards. Referee was right.
Well, just for a moment then, Wigan's defence just stood still. They were expecting the turnover. And it really caught them napping. Referee Jim Smith allowing play on. And rightly so, the ball had gone backwards.
Here's Botica on a run from dummy half. Making 10 metres progress before halted by Hobbs and Noble. Edwards helps it out to Dennis Betts. Good play from Betts, good support from Hall. Martin Afire was there and Hall heard the call. Well wheeled in by Powell. Edwards deciding to go on his own at dummy half. Platt, support arrived from Skerritt. The ball though was knocked forward. Knock on.
Skerritt trying to keep the ball alive there. He just never really took control of that. Had plenty of tension there. Referee rightly so, it'll be a head and feed for the Bradford side. But you could see there that the Wigan attack then, using that second phase, Skerritt coming late, the half break, it's just appearing to come through now.
And a penalty at the scrum to Bradford Northern. Well, watching alongside us up here on the gantry is Andrew Farrer, the Australian who has missed his first match today for Wigan. And Andrew, it must be frustrating for you to be watching from up here, but it's not a bad view, is it?
You wouldn't want to be scared of heights. It is unfortunate, or for me, it's I take a bit of pride in sort of not missing games, and so unfortunately I've had to pull out of this one with a bit of a hamstring injury, but I think it'll be right for next week.
Well, that's the important one, I suppose, for many of your supporters. Looking forward to the Saints Cup tie here.
I certainly am. I look forward to every game, but particularly the way that the last couple of clashes that we've had with St Helens, next week will be very interesting.
Hope you're fit for it, Andrew. Thanks for joining us. David Hobbs to Carl Furbank. That's good play from Furbank, and it almost came off. The call came from Keith Mumby, the fullback.
Well, Mumby claiming that he was interfered with there, but really nothing to do with it. There wasn't a Wigan hand put upon him. Ball just going behind the fullback. At least Mumby, even though he's in the twilight of his career, certainly still has that speed, the anticipation to inject himself into the back line.
Yeah, 17 years at Odsal in his first spell for Keith Mumby. Obviously has lost none of his enthusiasm for this game. Here's a young man at the start of his career, and what a career it promises to be. Robinson with a fire. He has the confidence. Great play, Robinson. Light under the sticks. A magnificent Wigan try. Created by Jason Robinson and scored by Joe Lydon. Breathtaking stuff.
Stone's bit of championship replay. We'll see Wigan work the ball to the blind side. But this man, Jason Robinson, he has the power and the strength and the speed. At this point, he realizes he may be just being shut down. He takes the defense across at the right time. No chance for the cover to get through to him. Good support play by Joe Lydon. That is a great try made by a youngster, Jason Robinson. What a player of the future.
Joe Lydon, his 6th try of the season. He will give a big pat on the back to Jason Robinson, I'm sure. And Frano Botica, 103 goals and a couple of drop goals in that total. And from bang in front, this will be Wigan ahead by 6 points to 0, and it is. The point-scoring machine for Wigan, Frano Botica, 6-0.
You see the importance of if a second marker breaks down. There's the Bradford second marker. If you don't make the tackle, you'll see him just push him off, and that was enough. The centres didn't close through, and this youngster has the class and the speed. Wonderful play. What a talent.
Absolutely. A try in midweek, 2 against Dewsbury and 1 here today, and 1 in the Regal Trophy final. Not a try for him this time, it was Joe Lydon's, but Robinson with all the credit, with all the assists. And Ian Gildart immediately knocking on from the kickoff.
Happens so often, doesn't it? Bit of a mistake there. Gildart made a real mess of it. Perhaps he thought that he hadn't knocked on. The ball seemed to go between his hands, ricochet off the feet, but referee Jim Smith wouldn't have it.
That looked a bit high as Watson went through the gap. Botica pulled him back by the collar. The referee Jim Smith was right on the spot and was unimpressed. This is Boothroyd. Bradford Northern trying to reply immediately with David Heron. Now Roy Powell. Strength from Powell, strength from the 3 Wigan tacklers. They tackle him standing up. Referee Jim Smith shouts that the man was held, as was David Hobbs there, but he was able to get the ball away. It's the last tackle. Bradford Northern so close and in possession with Furbank. Furbank will angle a kick across. Dean Bell. Oh, he did well to get out of trouble there, Bell. If it had been tackled behind his own try line, it would have been a drop out from underneath his own posts. Well, here's Robinson again.
Well positioned there, Eddie, by the Wigan skipper.
Lovely sidestepping run from Botica. What a great player this is. What a wonderful tackle that was from Summers. This is a great game so far. O'Fire with Lydon outside him. O'Fire, elusive, gets the ball away to Dennis Betts. A collision between Betts and Hobbs.
What a great break by Frano Botica, but I was surprised to see that Martin O'Fire wasn't with him.
Sean Edwards, he's taken the scrum cap off, and this is Andy Platt. That is the Bradford Northern quarter line. Edwards again. Edwards, 29 tries this season, the country's leading scorer. And not very happy with the way he was dumped to the ground then. But Wigan carrying on. Botica with a little dab through. Mumby read it well, picks up, sweeps up the danger.
Good positional play by the fullback there. You can see that Botica was coming through. Bradford Northern having a few problems out wide in their defensive qualities. That's the second time that the 2 centres have missed the man. Wonderful play though by Botica. It was a great step off the right foot.
In that possession statistic, Bradford Northern had 56% of the ball compared to Wigan's 43. It strikes me Wigan have done a little bit more with it when they've had the ball in their hands. They're 6 points ahead on the scoreboard. Watson, good run from Watson. Oh, he wasn't going any further than Andy Platt. Copybook tackle from Platt. It really downfield. Sorry, Mike, on the 5th tackle, picked up by Hampson.
He really felt that, didn't he? That was a crunching tackle.
Stopped him dead in his tracks, David Watson. This is Phil Clark. Oh, lovely step from Clark. Mumby, the man who pulls him down. Martin Hall now to Edwards. Gildart. Skerritt is there too.
Well, you can see quite clearly the Bradford Northern defence, they're not moving up in one line, they're hanging back, and you can't afford to do that against a classy side like Wigan.
This is Hampson who's chimed in. Good tackling from David Hobbs to bring him down. Edwards, a little bit of space ahead of him, finds Andy Platt. This time Platt in an attacking mode. Edwards, angular kick across. Someone was felled in back play. Little knock on behind his own post. Mumby making a meal of it, and he's trapped in goal.
Made a real mess of this, I'm afraid, did Keith Mumby. A bit awkward, very wet out there, of course, but that was an intelligent kick back downfield. Pushing across underneath the sticks. There's the man that put the kick through. Always thinking is Edwards. You never know what can happen when you start punching the ball towards those goalposts.
And Philip Clark. Philip Clark in possession for Wigan. Now Robinson. A little buzz comes round this ground whenever Robinson gets the ball in his arms. He really is a star of the future. Star of the present, the way he's playing. Betts. Wigan within 10 metres of the Bradford Northern posts again. Martin Hall, the dummy half. Edwards. Botica. Hampson. Nice play from Hampson. He just left the ball up in the air and Dean Bell came in to pick it up. Martin Hall again. Now it's with Skerritt. Big man taking over. Last tackle. And they're so close, Wigan. So close to their second try. Edwards. Long raking pass out. O'Fire picks it up. O'Fire gets it over the top. Robinson, he only has to fall over the line. And he dropped it, did he? He's given it. Well, he gave the try and then he looked at the touch judge. Unfortunately for Mr. Smith, the touch judge was in agreement. But did Robinson drop it? A try has been given. But the question, and maybe our pictures will tell us, did Robinson drop the ball?
Stone's Bit of Championship replay will show the long ball from Edwards. Couldn't just be taken by Clark there. It was O'Fire that scooped it out. He took the chance to get it away. Did the right thing. Everyone was confused. The Bradford defence also. But in my book, I think he dropped it. Pretty difficult there for the touch judge. And it was Jim Smith that had a little bit of look at the touches. There's the long one there. O'Fire gets to it. You can see how the Bradford defence, 3 of them have gone for O'Fire. Leaves it open. Anderson couldn't stop it. Pretty difficult to see. We'll see better on this one. There's little Billy Wiz going through, and that has been dropped in my book. Lady Luck will shine upon that guy. But no doubt he's quite happy. Made the first try and scored the second.
Jason Robinson's 8th try of the season. Botica then with the conversion attempt. Oh, tremendous kicking from Frano Botica. No wonder Wigan have been quick to keep him at Central Park. Wigan 12, Bradford Northern 0. Touch of fortune perhaps about the Jason Robinson try, when it did look as though he dropped it. The referee Jim Smith had a good view and immediately awarded the try, but there was an element of doubt about Robinson's 8th of the season. But no one at Wigan will be complaining. The 4 points made into 6 by Botica. It's in the papers, read it in the morning.
Yeah, it's a fortunate 4 points to Wigan there, but I think everybody that's watching this game will realise that Bradford are having a lot of problems in their defence. You could see at that point where 3 of the Bradford defenders went for one man, Martin O'Fire, and really Tony Anderson had no chance for any support.
It's starting to get a little bit frustrating for Bradford, and a good job that Martin Hall ducked then.
Well, they often say that hookers don't have brains, but that kid did then. Oh, dearie me. Estimated time of departure. Everyone could see that coming.
Carl Fairbank, pugnacious Bradford Northern forward. Great Britain international. Penalised with the swinging arm. Another Great Britain international. Kelvin Skerritt is in possession now. It's with Martin Hall, though, from the dummy half position, and now Platt. Andy Platt on all fours making progress. Philip Clark. Good run from Clark. Good straight run. The call was there from Botica in support. Botica's got Edwards. Edwards has Skerritt. And Edwards, the diminutive scrum half, saying to Kelvin Skerritt, the big man, you take the tackle. And Skerritt did. Lydon, the dummy half. Betts. Wigan on this murky afternoon, 10 metres short of the Bradford Northern line again. Edwards, a long pass, that's great. Oh, forward pass, surely a forward pass. Well, no, another try. Jason Robinson. And another touch of controversy. That looked forward from up here.
Stone's bit of championship replay will show that Shaun Edwards, when you allow a man with this skill to just run the game, and that's what he's doing, no one came to him. The ball came out wide, and that last pass, as you mentioned, Eddie, a lot of doubt with that one. But full credit to him, it was wonderful hands by the Wigan three-quarter line. But I'm afraid this Bradford Northern defence, if they allow that man, Shaun Edwards, to take control, look how they just hang off him. They don't know what he's going to do. They come right the way through. The fullback Hampson links. And that was about 2 foot forward in my book. But as they say, read it in the newspapers. The try is being given.
And Jason Robinson won't be complaining. His second of the afternoon, 9 now for the season. For young Billy Whiz, only 18. And he's a certainty to be named in the under-21 squad tomorrow. Frano Bottiga then. Kicked one off the touchline just a few moments ago after Robinson's last try. This is even more acute, the angle. But with a kicker of this fellow's class and quality, anything is possible. What a chance. It's got more than a chance. What a goal kicker this fellow is. 18-0. Wigan increase the lead.
You'll see quite clearly there, that's Edwards with the football. He's running in the line across. And there you can see that line of defence. They're just holding back at Bradford, and I'm afraid they are suffering the consequences. Nice try, but tinged with controversy again.
Ian Gildart and Dennis Betts are coming off to be replaced by Sam Panapa and Neil Cowie. Sam Panapa, Kiwi international. Neil Cowie, Great Britain tourist. Not bad when you have that sort of quality on your bench.
Yeah, it's all about the depth in your club, isn't it? That's what Wigan have been so powerful over the last 5 or 6 years. They've got great backup, excellent players.
Neil Cowie immediately into the action. Now Philip Clark. Cowie was there, and Cowie is still there as Clark makes this break, but so too is Martin Hall. Martin Hall gives it to Edwards, and there's try number 30 of the season for Shaun Edwards. The support player supreme. Great run from Martin Hall. He heard the shout from Edwards, and Edwards, well, really does turn the screw on Bradford.
Stone's better championship replay will just pick out the problems that Bradford are having in the defence. You can't go high on this man. He's so strong. Good support by the hooker. And this is what team spirit is all about. He could have gone on his own if he wanted to and taken the risk. He didn't. He did the right thing. He looked for the support, and that man is the best in the business. Good try. There you can see it. He could probably have gone on his own, gone for the glory. He did not. He went to give this man his 30th try of the season. And boy, oh boy, Wigan are running riot, and Shaun Edwards is very happy indeed.
He topped the try-scoring charts with 40 last season, and he's got 30 already this. And Frano Bottiga from right in front will surely maintain that 100% record, and does. Bradford must be sick of the sight of Wigan.
There you can see the two Bradford defenders. They're leaning backwards. That means they're not moving forward. They're allowing it. Look at the gap that this man goes through. When they go close, they bounce off. They go high. They suffer the consequences. And Wigan are on their way to yet another try. Super stuff. Good support play. There you can see it.
Roger Simpson coming back on, and Roger Simpson coming on, and Keith Mumby going off for Bradford. And also Adam Greenwood has come on. There he is, number 15 in your picture. And Adam Boothroyd has been replaced. So it's 24 points to nil for Wigan. Remember last season, 71 points against Bradford Northern in the Challenge Cup semi-final. 50 points here in the league against Bradford Northern as they clinch the title. Bradford losing the Regal Trophy to Wigan already this season. And 24-0 already here today. But Wigan have just surrendered possession for the first time, but they're trying so hard to get it back and giving Adam Greenwood no chance at all to settle on the ball, or Roger Simpson, who've just come on.
Well, the difference in defence there, you can see that the Wigan are trying to move up quickly. The second marker is working overtime. Really, Bradford have got to try to get into the swing of things. It's pretty difficult. Wigan have had possession for the last 15 minutes, and they've just blitzed them. They'll be wishing that Wigan had gone to the Sydney Sevens.
Watson, narrow the ball towards the corner. Jason Robinson just letting it run across his body and out for the scrum.
Good positional kick there. Jason Robinson not taking the chance, and rightly so. Wigan will, of course, get the feed and the head in the scrum. And when you're leading by 24 points to nil, there's no point in taking any risk.
Well, Bradford Northern will point to that galaxy of talent that is out injured for them, Mike. Medley, Clark, Shelford, Fox, Marchant, Caudle, Kebby and Hamer. 8 players who could easily have been on show here today, but Wigan are taking no prisoners, and they have very little charity, do they?
Well, they don't give anything away apart from things like that. There was a bad mistake by Cowie, but when you mention all those players, the difference is between the two sides, of course, is that Wigan nurture so many good juniors, so many good players. They don't just talk about the first 13, they talk about the second 13 as well. It's so important.
Yes, McGinty, Andrew Farrow's up here on the gantry with us, and also Martin Dermott, of course, all out injured at the moment. But it doesn't seem to make any difference to this Wigan machine. And I rather fancy that the possession has turned round dramatically, and it has. Wigan now with 54, nearly 55% of the time the ball's been in play. Bradford trying to come back here with Neil Summers. This is Watson. Watson turns the ball back inside to McGowan. McGowan has Powell there, bit of space, but it's suddenly closed down by Skerrett.
Good play by Watson. Running at the angle, bringing the ball back. It confused Wigan's defence.
Here's Watson again. He's almost through. He is through. David Watson with the try. It's come at just the right time. The confidence must have been running close to empty, and Watson gets over for the try.
Stones bit of championship replay. This all came about by Watson's ability to go in between, and it was Wigan's poor defence there that let him through, but full credit to Dave Watson, the New Zealander. It was his angle run before this that created the position. Plenty of step there, and the Wigan defence was caught. That was poor defence. They went high, but look how he went running through. That's the strength. They couldn't hold him back. Botica and Panapert just not strong enough. What a great way to fight back.
A try in midweek against Hull too for David Watson. He's now played in 3 positions, full-back, stand-off and scrum half for Bradford Northern since his arrival. And David Hobbs with the conversion attempt. It should be 24 points to 6 in a moment. And is. Hobbs successful with the kick. Bradford still trail though. Wigan 24, Bradford 6.
Well, there's a problem that we said about Bradford just a few moments ago. You can see that there's 2 Wigan players this time. They're not moving up, and that relieves them. And Watson gets off. They go too high. A well-deserved try.
It was Panapa and Botica who were standing back. And David Watson, the 3rd Kiwi in that combination. He saw the gap and he got through. Well, that should give Bradford a bit of heart. David Heron. This is the substitute, Adam Greenwood. And he's lost the ball under the sheer weight of those tacklers, Clark and Cowie.
Yes, he wasn't pulled out there. You could see on the replay quite clearly.
Dean Bell. Another man looking forward to that big Challenge Cup tie next weekend against St Helens. And the Saints will be watching this. Let's have a look at the handling errors. Well, Saints had a horror show in that department on Friday night on Sky, and Wigan 7 handling errors already after 35 minutes or thereabouts of this first half. Hampson managed to get a boot to that. It fell to a fire just held out by Watson. So close, Wigan again. Cowie with the strength, just hauled back. Last tackle for Wigan, so close. It's with Botica. Now it's with Edwards off his knee. Edwards slants the ball, side foots it through, but Roger Simpson was the man there waiting.
Well, some poor play by Wigan. Not respecting possession, 2 bad passes. One going to ground, they were looking to get away with it there.
5 minutes to half-time, Wigan ahead, 24 points to 6. Aiming to close the gap on St Helens at the top of the table to 4 points with 2 games in hand. Good break this though from Furbank, and it was well, I was going to say a poor pass to Neil Summers. It was a bit low, it bounced off his knee, and here's Robinson now.
That was hard lines from Bradford there. Good work by Brian Noble, the hooker, that got that gap away.
A sloppy play from Panapa. Just took his eye off the ball, knock on.
Well, that's the 3rd bad pass that we've seen from Wigan within the space of 1 minute. Hardly classy stuff. I suppose when you're leading by 24 points to 6 that the engine starts to slow down a little bit.
Offside round the back of the scrum, says referee Jim Smith. So penalty at the scrum, taken quickly by Watson. Another try to Bradford Northern, and they really will be beginning to believe in themselves. This is Greenwood. Low penalty count here today, isn't it? Only 4. Bradford have had 3 of them. David Heron clinging on to the ball for Bradford. Noble was the dummy half. Summers turns the ball back inside to Roger Simpson. Simpson has support from McGowan. They're in. Oh, well, they really will, as I say, start believing in themselves now. Steve McGowan. Simpson with the little turn and run created it.
Stones with a championship replay. Good play by Bradford. The switch back inside by Summers, and Simpson goes through. And I'm telling you, this Wigan defence has decided to go asleep. They went 24-0 up, and they're deciding that they've just gone. That's it. The game's over. Well, I'm telling you, it's not. Good support there by Steve McGowan. Tony Anderson. There you see, Summers gets the ball back inside. Good step there by Simpson. Gets the ball away, and Steve McGowan in for a try, and that is a great try. But I'm sure, Eddie, there'll be plenty of words said by the Wigan coach, John Money, at the half-time break. But full credit to Bradford Northern, they came back well.
Well done, the substitute, Roger Simpson, combining well with Neil Summers. Well, Wigan, if they were asleep about 5 minutes ago and coasting at 24-0, they aren't coasting now. 24 points to 12. If this goes over. And that's the score. Bradford have reduced the arrears by 50% in the last 5 minutes.
Well, the key to defence is called a straight line. You could hardly call this one a straight line, could you? And that's the problem with the Wigan defence. Simpson goes through, spins out. Hampson doesn't get a real catch of him. And the centre in for a good try.
So 24 points to Wigan and 12 to Bradford. And Phil Clark has gone off. That's why the referee has just held the cloth cut for a moment, because he's in the blood bin, and Dennis Betts comes on to replace him up to half-time. Wigan have a quarter of an hour of play to patch Phil Clark up. Otherwise, the substitution of Dennis Betts will be counted as a proper one. As it is at the moment, he's just replacing him because he's in the blood bin.
Well, you really have got to admire this Bradford Northern side. Many teams would have just wilted under this Wigan side, racing to such a commanding lead. They showed grit and determination. What a great step there by the substitute Roger Simpson. He showed his class.
Ball was dropped and it went back, says referee Jim Smith. It's on the last tackle now. Bradford getting away with that one. Quick hands, Anderson. Good tackling back though, Botica. That was the last tackle. It is the turnover, and this is Jason Robinson. Martin Hall to Platt and to Skerritt. The Bradford Northern bench with Peter Fox in the natty cap. He'd probably be thinking what he could have done had he had any one or two of those 8 stars who are currently out injured. As it is, his team haven't done badly at all after losing the 24-0 lead. They have clawed their way back into this fixture. Botica, I think he was shaping then for an attempted drop goal, and he took his eye off it and dropped it. Well, the errors are coming, Mike.
And he had all the time in the world. Obviously took his eyes off the ball just at the split second when he was obviously thinking of which direction that field goal was going.
But there is the half-time siren, and Wigan ahead by 24 points to 12. And Steve McGowan taking his career total for this club now to 97 with his try, and Sean Edwards, who began the day just 4 short of a career double century, has gone a little closer to that milestone too.
You have a passion for rugby league and all the trappings.
All clubs have done the
You
league.
want to see all the action. Join the debate. Learn about the changes.
All of your
Meet
comments.
Steve-O at his own game. You want to put your oar in. Have a laugh.
Thank God for boots and all.
In association with Stones Bitter. Monday nights at 10 on Sky Sports.
There's only one.
Half-time at Central Park. Wigan ahead by 24 points to 12. Jason Robinson with 2 tries, Lydon and Edwards, Botica with 4 goals. And the match facts from the first half, not too much in the sides as far as tackling is concerned. Scrums level pegging, penalties going Bradford's way. Wigan have made a whole host of handling errors, and they've just shaded the possession as well. Steve McGowan with that try in the first half. And remember, Mike, we were a little bit critical of the 2 tries that Wigan scored by Jason Robinson. One perhaps a drop ball, and one perhaps forward pass. And if those 2 hadn't been given, obviously the scores would have been level at this stage.
Yes, but I do have a distinct feeling that it was Wigan that sort of just went to sleep. So strong in their attack, but quite frankly, I'm sure that their coach John Mooney would have had plenty to say at the half-time break, as would the Bradford Northern coach Peter Fox, because they really have allowed Bradford to get back into this game.
It's Wigan who are in possession again with Neil Cowie this time. This is Frano Botica. Phil Clark is still on the substitutes bench for Wigan. He was replaced during that first half, and he's had 4 stitches in his wound, but he will return if necessary. But at the moment, number 15, Neil Cowie, is out there in his place. There's Clark on the bench. Head heavily padded. 4 stitches.
pretty important for Bradford Northern really to start getting things right. A lot of work from their forwards, trying to get a try quickly, and then they would really be back in this game.
Bell to Botica. Now this is Skerrett. Skerrett to Botica. Robinson tries to go through the gap. He has support though from Panapa. Panapa heading down the wing, brushes away from Simpson. Poor tackling Bradford. Another try from Wigan, and Panapa makes up for the error in the first half where he allowed the Bradford player through for the try.
Stones Bitter Championship replay. Beautiful play by Wigan. The switch across, you'll see Skerrett keep the ball alive. Lovely pass by Botica that hit the ground, but it was taken on the half volley by this kid. Beautiful play. He was looking always for the support. And the substitute, Sam Panapa, that was excellent play. You could see how Simpson came across to do the cover tackling, but the strength of Panapa, dipping the shoulder down. Super football, super skills. Not the best, but he took it well. Look at the talent here. He was looking for the support. Watch this. Simpson goes in. Panapa goes down, uses the strength. Upper body strength, supreme. Great try.
Yes, Panapa hits double figures. The Kiwi with 8 New Zealand caps to his credit. On the bench against Wakefield and came off and scored. He's done the same again here this afternoon. Frano Botica then with that tremendous goal-kicking record. 100%. And this time he misses. So Wigan 28 and Bradford 12.
This is where Wigan do it so well. They switch it back to the blind side, and in doing so you can see the Bradford man has been pulled into Botica. That leaves an entire gap through there, and that's how the try was scored. Just run out of numbers there. They've both got to go for Robinson. That leaves a man over. Well wrapped around there by Panapa, and you'll see excellent play.
So Bradford restart. The gap has opened up again. This is Steve Hampson through a little gap, and Watson had to be the man doing the tackling. This now is Dean Bell. Wigan, of course, champions for the past 3 years. They have made history, but in the 80s, Bradford created a touch of history themselves by becoming the first side to retain the title, 1980 and 81. And that was all under Peter Fox, the man who is currently in charge at Hodsall. And in 1981, Wigan were in the second division. Times change.
Just shows you what can be done over the space of 10 years or so.
Edwards with the kick downfield. Panapa, that's good tackling on the winger Powell. 5 minutes or thereabouts of this second half. Wigan just taking a grip on proceedings again. But Bradford in possession with Powell. That's great tackling by Andy Platt.
Well, the words of their coach John Morney, I'm sure, will be ringing in the Wigan players' ears, knowing the fact that they allowed Bradford to get back into this game. Now they've stretched it to 28-12. Bit of a knock on there by Bradford. That won't help matters.
Knock on both ways.
But I'm sure that the Wigan players realise they're not going to give Bradford any latitude now. Whereas Bradford, of course, they have to take more gambles.
Edwards feeds, Edwards gets the possession, Botica, and now O'Fire. A watch by Simpson. The tackle finished by McGowan. Bell, who was eager for work, the Wigan captain. Hall, the dummy half. Botica and Edwards. He gives it to Kelvin Skerrett, who releases the pass, and Neil Summers is the man who swoops on it. Powell now from dummy half. He had Lydon hanging on to his shorts, and it was Neil Cowie who finished him off. Noble taking a little run. Watson running down a bit of a blind alley. Carl Fairbank, the dummy half, finds David Heron. He in turn finds Anderson. It was risky business because Panapa had moved up very, very quickly. And I think Anderson has twisted an ankle or a knee in that. And there's the fifth and final tackle.
Looks in a lot of pain there, Anderson. Was a fine tackle by the substitute Panapa.
Platt is the runner. Lydon now. Now Cowie. Word from the bench, by the way, is that Wigan are taking the full 15 minutes to patch up the loose forward Philip Clark before bringing him back. It will remain as a blood bin substitution. This meanwhile is Andy Platt, and it's the last tackle for Wigan. Now Dennis Betts on his own. Betts with the strength, it's so easy. Dennis Betts' try, that brings up the round dozen for the big second rower. So easy from the play the ball. He had all the strength and the power to burrow his way over.
Stones better championship replay. Well, Wigan got away with something there. I thought the play the ball, the man moved off the mark, caught the defence out wide, but good thinking by the second rower. You can see there that it was Andy Platt, in my opinion, moved off the mark to get that extra bit, but good thinking by the second rower. Good play.
Great Britain international Dennis Betts. He's missed 5 games this season, having gone 2 full years without missing one, but he still managed to take his try-scoring feats to 12. And Dennis Betts, the man who replaced Philip Clark, who went into the blood bin, and having scored that try, comes off, and Phil Clark, within the quarter hour, comes back on. Meanwhile, from the try from Dennis Betts, this is Frano Botica with the conversion attempt. That's better. All right from that side of the field. 34-12.
You see a quick play of the ball by Andy Platt, who in my opinion has moved out to the right, and look at the gap there. Goes straight through. There's a second rower, Betts. Quick thinking, and look at it. Could have driven quite a few buses through there. Simple try.
So Bradford a bit dispirited, and they restart.
Jason Robinson can go to 6, and Sam can go under the wing.
And I think our microphones up here on the gantry just picking up the tactics that John Money is passing on down to the bench. So you can stand by for another Wigan substitution shortly.
I bet the Bradford Northern coach Peter Fox wouldn't mind that.
Now Skerrett. This is Botica. Last tackle for Wigan. They're still on the halfway line. Edwards hits the ball deep. Simpson has to pick up.
There you see the importance of the second marker. moving very quickly, not allowing Bradford any chance to come through.
Ball's been spilled. Dean Bell managed to get it to Edwards. That was good intuitive play from Edwards. He fed Neil Cowie. Cowie's trying all the way. He's held up on his back, though. Neil Cowie was celebrating the try, but the man who kept him up on his back, David Heron, felt the full force of that weight there, didn't he, Mike? He's winded.
Great tackle, though. Substitute Neil Cowie trying to get away with the try there, but the left arm of David Heron. But what a pass by Shaun Edwards. Straight between the legs. Lifted the crowd's spirits. Sent Cowie really racing for the line. Took his chances as well, Cowie. Not the fastest of runners, but he threw the dummy and went for it. He's got plenty of skill as Edwards, hasn't he?
And it's a penalty at the scrum to Bradford. There's an interesting debate going on actually around that scrum there, because Summers was getting ready to feed the scrum, but Edwards was claiming he should have been feeding the scrum in that situation, because of course the Wigan man was held up over the line, and I think if you read the letter of the law right, Edwards was right. Meanwhile, this scrappy play.
Well, I can't believe that he's given that Wigan was knocking on there. To me, like Steve McGowan made the first one, but as the ball came down, looked like the ball was knocked kind of backward direction, but he's the man that counts, Jim Smith.
Andy Platt with the right eye bleeding.
And I think Mr. Smith just having a few little words with the Wigan skipper, Dean Bell. Calm things down. Thank you very much indeed.
That scrum wheeling and turning, but Dave Watson has it for Bradford, and he's seen a little bit of a gap behind the play there, and he headed for it.
Good play by Dave Watson. He used the referee Jim Smith as a foil, threw the dummy, went round him.
This is Neil Summers. Watson and Fairbank. Good play, Fairbank. He found McGowan. Good tackling from Edwards. He took the boot off Steve McGowan. Bradford able to continue the movement. Anderson, the dummy half. David Heron. Watson. Simpson. Simpson enveloped by Neil Cowie and Andy Platt. Here's Watson again. Little kick through. Well read by Hampson. Collected that brilliantly, the Wigan full-back.
Good position there by Hampson, but equally good work by Dave Watson. He's certainly not thrown the towel in. Bit of an uphill battle, you'll see the reply there. Full-back Steve Hampson.
Dean Bell being collared by David Hobbs. Martin Hall is the dummy half. Skerritt.
Interesting to see whether Wigan will keep the composure. Things getting a little bit warm out there.
34 points to 12. Wigan ahead on the last tackle here. Edwards has chipped through. Simpson's read it. Got the ball back to Watson, who's had a lively game despite the scoreline. And so has McGowan. It's a good run from the centre, this. The winger was Richard Darks, pulled down by Andy Platt. Noble to Summers to Fairbank. Referee said he was held standing up. Oh, that was a bad pass from Noble. It's bounced up perfectly for Phil Clark, who's fed Dean Bell. And Dean Bell was good tackling back by Richard Darks. And a bit of help too from Adam Greenwood. But Wigan sweeping the ball from right to left, but it all came to an abrupt halt, courtesy of another mishandle by Sam Panapa.
He had the numbers out wide. Clark sending it on to Hampson, and then Hampson's pass, the substitute Panapa. Too eager to go through the gap rather than take control of the ball first.
It's all got a little bit untidy, hasn't it, Mike? Wigan so far in front, but you know, points difference at the end of the season. And this battle with St Helens, it might come down to that. And look at the handling errors that Wigan have made, 12 of them so far.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. It is Wigan that's trying to force this pace, and that's the reason why they've got the 34 points on the board.
Heron just picked that one up from his hip, and the ball was dropped by Adam Greenwood, and Wigan have it back courtesy of Panapa.
Yes, he was losing that ball before Bell came in into the second tackle. And Adam Greenwood a little bit over enthusiastic there.
Here's Skerrett.
Well, maybe there's a few old scores to settle out there.
Martin Hall, the dummy half. Edwards and Botica. Andy Platt straight at Roy Powell. And Powell stood his ground, waited for him. It's the last one for Wigan. Edwards to Clark and to Lydon. And Lydon keeps the ball alive, but the referee said it was a knock-on. And as it was on the last tackle, it's the turnover.
Well, Lydon trying to get the ball away one-handed. Support there of Clark. It's followed off there by an attempted drop goal by Martin Afire. Certainly not a good thing to do with a man that's been struggling with the hamstrings.
Simpson's almost through the gap. Watson to Furbank. Furbank turning in the tackle and releasing the ball to Edwards. He should have gone down with it. Platt to Cowie. And referee Jim Smith is waving his arm. He said it's 6 more for Wigan here. 6 to go. As Robinson takes it up to the quarter line. Martin Hall to Edwards, to Platt, back to Edwards, to Botica, to Lydon. Botica, the dummy half. Clark drops it. And Brian Noble says thank goodness for that.
Another count there by the Wigan side. They're pretty eager to keep this ball alive. But you see that, though, from the loose forward, Phil Clark. Normally very safe hands.
David Hobbs. Bradford still trying hard. Trying a little bit of inventive stuff from Hobbs. Unlucky there, though, it came off. Roy Powell dropped on him. Now Heron. And Furbank. Darks had no chance then of making any progress at all. Edwards and Bell were hunting in pairs. This is Greenwood.
Wigan's defence moving up very quickly, allowing Bradford just to play one-out football at the moment.
Kick downfield to make Wigan turn, and Martin Afire is lolloping after that. But he has the pace to get away from those 2 chasers. Now, has he got enough to get away from Watson? Oh, lovely sidestepping. That's 4 that he's beaten. Powell, the 5th man in, got him, and he's given it to Robinson. Such lazy style from Afire, but he had all the power then and the guile to sidestep his way out of trouble. This is Phil Clark. Still going, Clark. Good strength. Just over an hour of this match gone. Wigan 34 and Bradford 12. Bradford with a better record than most against Wigan over the years. Betts is waiting to come on for Frano Botica, who's in possession now and who's tackled by Heron. just about that record here at Wigan. Played 34, Wigan have won 17, Bradford 15, and there have been 2 draws. It's not a bad record for Bradford, but not recently. Last tackle for Wigan. Edwards says to hoist it. Instead of that, he just slides it through, looking for O'Fire, but Powell found him, and then O'Fire wheeled him in, and Powell drops it. And the referee has a look at the touch judge. Knock on is the decision.
Well, Powell just released it. Lost control. He was about to turn round to play the ball. Neat little kick through by Edwards. Well read and good tackle by O'Fire. Well, on the replay, Mr. O'Fire just gave it a little bit of a nudge, but got away with it.
We're trying to get bets on now. And Bottica looks like he's limping a bit. And with the second round in mind against St Helens next week, that's, I would think, a precautionary move by John Money. Bottica goes off and Phil Clark knocks the ball forward, and then the substitute Greenwood could not keep hold, so another scrum.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? You say what safe pair of hands that the loose forward Phil Clark has. Drops the ball in the space of 1 minute. Interesting though, Eddie, to see how this Jason Robinson fares, playing in the standoff position. They've moved it in off the wing.
Summers finds Simpson. This is a good run from Simpson. Oh, but he gave it straight to Lydon. I just wonder whether there was a call then from Joe Lydon, because he didn't even look, Simpson. He just put the ball out and it was straight into the arms of the Wigan man.
Unfortunate there. The substitute Roger Simpson, he's injected a lot of speed into this game for the Bradford side since he came on.
Another scrum. But Roger Simpson, as you say, Mike, fit again to return to this Bradford side, but being brought in off the bench by Peter Fox. Talking to him yesterday, he said he could fill in any position and he could rejig, so he decided he would start the way he did with Mumby at full-back. But there's Simpson. This now is Lydon.
Okay, lads, he's held up and away, come on.
Bell to Betts. Hall's the dummy half. Edwards now. This is out Robinson and finds Clark instead. But the pace has gone out of this match just now. And plenty of errors on show as well. That latest one from Neil Cowie. So 65 minutes or thereabouts on the watch, 34-12. Wigan 34, Bradford Northern 12. Wigan looking as though they will close the gap on St Helens at the top tonight. And Watson saying to Roger Simpson, have a run. But O'Fire is there. But is he there? Yes, he is. He gets it second attempt and then skips away from the despairing Simpson. They can't bring him down. Eventually, Brian Noble does. Good thinking, though, by Bradford Northern. Only a shame for them that the fastest man in the game was the man doing the covering. Edwards is dummy half, and this is Neil Cowie, who releases the ball to Sam Panappa. Four of them eventually, and Furbank roughly brings him down. Bell gets a good ball away to Clark, to Edwards, who loops it over the top to Robinson. Robinson, remember, on a hat-trick after this, his first two-try effort in the big league for Wigan.
Tricky customer there, very difficult. Small, close to the ground, hard to bring down.
The kick just drilling Wigan further forward. And Bradford are going to make two more substitutions. It's going to be Boothroyd and Mumby to return, and Tony Anderson and David Hobbs will troop off. So Boothroyd comes back, the man that had 7 years at Huddersfield, and the veteran Keith Mumby returns too. Here's Watson, shoulder to shoulder with Hampson, and he picked himself up, bounced up off the ground like a rubber ball and carried on. He's had a brave game as Dave Watson. This is Boothroyd. Have another look at this.
Just using the left shoulder there, Hampson. They both would have felt that though.
Wigan full-back Steve Hampson scored a drop goal in the Regal final against Bradford Northern. Not on the score sheet though yet today, but Wigan very firmly are on the score sheet, 34-12. Here comes Bradford again though. Simpson, he did well to read that and pick it up. Oh, there's a high flailing arm there from Clark, he had to duck under. Last tackle, Heron. Oh, and Panapa with another handling error.
Well, a lack of concentration, not just with this man Sam Panapa, but quite a few of the Wigan players. He knows he's made a bad mistake there, but Wigan lucky to get away without giving a penalty away there, really. Loose forward Phil Clark really went at Simpson.
And that will be Phil Clark's last play for the time being. The man who was in the blood bin and came back out now goes off again to be replaced by Ian Gildart. Now here's Roger Simpson. He's tried as hard as any, and he sees a little gap ahead of him. He deserves that. He deserves that try, Roger Simpson, for all the effort he has put on since he came into this match.
Stones with a championship replay, put it down to sheer skill by Simpson. The super sub today, really lovely step, and again throws the dummy. What a great handoff there. Betts went for him, but he had the strength. Once again using the right hand, push it off enough to get there. That's a great try. Two steps, you'll see them come up. There's the ball, that's the first, then there's another step, then it's the dummy, then the handoff from Betts. Then he decides to get another one. Watch this handoff there on Panapa. Enough strength to get over. Great individual try.
Roger Simpson, the utility back, who played in the last league win at Wigan in 1988, 1990 Lions tourist to Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, his fourth try of the season. And David Hobbs, of course, is off, so Keith Mumby takes the goal-kicking responsibilities. He's already found the target 4 times this season. And his tally for the season stays at 4. Wigan 34, Bradford 16.
See how influential a step is. The man's come away. This man here has not moved across, and that's where he'll go. Excellent play. Super stuff. 2 hands off there. Really had to work hard for it. Brilliant individual try.
Just less than 10 minutes to go. Wigan 34, Bradford 16. Well, we've seen the 2 leading contenders on Sky this weekend. St Helens on Friday in their match against Warrington. Wigan here today. Mr. Stevenson, where's your hard-earned brass going to rest as far as the championship's concerned? Who's going to win it?
Well, on this performance, should I say, from Wigan, the first 20 minutes, perhaps you would have said they were miles in front of the way that both sides are playing. St Helens made 18 mistakes on Friday, and I think by the end of this game, Wigan won't be far off it. So there was going to be plenty for both their coaches to think about for the big clash next week. The respect for possession is vital, and I'm sure both coaches will be working hard on that.
You've sat very neatly right on the fence there.
Beg your pardon, Edward?
Okay. Was that another error? It was. So that, we make it, is the 17th error for Wigan to St Helens 18 on Friday. But did Hampson drop this? Yes.
Well, they've only got one to go, haven't they? 17 so far. A coach's nightmare.
Perhaps both the clubs have got their eye on that second round Challenge Cup tie next weekend, because neither side, it must be said, have, apart from Wigan from that 20-minute spell in the first half, neither side this weekend have produced the vintage stuff that they can.
Only in small glimpses, really. Hasn't been the best performance. And I think the worrying thing about it is that both sides have shown to me that they can score tries, but they just go to sleep. The defensive lapse has allowed both sides to get back into the game. Well, it's far from classic, Eddie.
Penalty at the scrum. Wigan's way this time. Joe Lydon spotted Andrew Farrer and Billy McGuinty up here on the gantry and tried to hit them with that penalty.
It's a good job. They probably would have dropped it.
I'll keep them apart.
It's important now, Eddie, that Wigan sort of get into the swing of things. Okay. Oh, that was a fall.
Pass Martin Hall to Dennis Betts. I don't believe that one, but Betts isn't hanging round to debate the issue. A fire now from dummy half. Edwards and Robinson. Short ball to Lydon, to Bell, behind Cowie. Hampson will pick the pieces up. Still going, Hampson. Good run from the fullback. Good pass to Betts. Takes the return. O'Fire's out there, but Hampson elects to go on his own. That's the last tackle. Lydon to Dean Bell, to Panapa. Sam Panapa to Dean Bell, and he's forced into the corner.
Great tackle there by Carl Fairbank. Panapa just held up the ball for the Wigan skipper. Great cover, just enough effort to get him over there. We're getting back to that Wigan, what I was trying to say, Eddie, that they'd want to finish on a bit of a spurt. Try to get at least one try, or maybe even two, just to build their confidence for next week.
Bradford in possession then, deep inside their own half, just under 5 minutes to go. Wigan ahead 34-16. Watching, as we say, alongside us, as well as Andrew Farrer, who we heard from in the first half, Great Britain international Billy McGuinty. Billy, not a vintage display by the boys today, and I suppose a good one to miss.
Well, it's not a good one to miss because it's not nice to miss any matches, but we've made far too many basic errors, really. You know, we've not done the ball so many times, it's unbelievable. John will have a few words to say to people on Tuesday.
I'm sure he will. Do you think the problem perhaps is that you've got an eye on that second round cup tie against St Helens next week?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the ball's a bit slippy and people aren't concentrating. I think that's probably what it is.
Ever the diplomat, Billy McGuinty. Thanks, Bill. It's now Martin Afire. Little chip over the top from Afire, and well read by Summers. Bravely too. Say what you like about Bradford Northern, Mike, they're not pitching the towel in, they're not capitulating, and they're still rolling forward.
Oh, it's a good effort from them. Remember, they've got quite a few injured stars out. And when Wigan raced away to a 24-0 lead, it was obvious that they were going to be uphill battle all the way, but as you say, they really have got down to the hard work.
Noble, the hooker, leading by example. Powell, the man in at dummy half now. What a great pass, Heron. It went backwards, says referee Smith. Keep it going. This is David Watson. Now Roger Simpson. Neat little kick forward by Simpson, and it only finds touch. It was inventive, though, from the substitute, wasn't it?
He's enjoyed himself out there, even though he'll be picking up losing money. Since he came on, really shown the speed. A couple of times it looks faster to me than Martin O'Fire has today. Well, Simpson very fast from a standing start.
This is Lydon. Tackling in the end. Keith Mumby. Bell, and Mumby again round his ankles. And Brian Noble, the man upstairs. Platt now. The forwards continue to do the hard work, taking the ball up, driving it away from trouble. Wigan then breathing down the necks of St Helens at the top of the table. That second half possession statistic tells its own story. Wigan have seen plenty of the football, but they haven't made the best of it. Perhaps they will here now with Robinson. What an exciting player he is. And he finds Panapa. Panapa to Edwards. And Edwards was immediately tackled by Boothroyd. Good
cover tackle by Boothroyd, the second row. What a nice break again by Robinson.
Robinson down injured as you watch this, as O'Fire and Platt carry the play on. And that must have been a forward pass again. This is Cowie. Cowie going all the way, as he know it was held up on the last tackle. But the quick hands by Andy Platt look forward to me. And Robinson down and injured, and this is the reason why.
Yeah, it just went over. Probably the ankle or the knee. But Wigan were doing everything right apart from getting the ball over the in-goal area, making the break. But as you mentioned, Eddie Look has shone on them a little bit today. A few forward passes have gone away. They've got away with it.
Simpson eventually hauled down by Betts and by Cowie, and Jason Robinson limps away. So that's Robinson and Botica with heavy knocks from this match. And Wigan now with 12 men. They have used up their quota of substitutions, but we're in the last minute, so Wigan will play out time. But that's a good kick downfield by Neil Summers. He's been another of the stars of the show for Bradford, Mike.
Both the halfbacks, Summers and Watson, they've worked well. They've tried hard, but just a few silly mistakes at vital times, mainly in the missed tackling department.
And a few decisions too, to be fair, that have gone against them, with forward passes and drop balls on tries, you know.
Yes, two controversial tries in that first half, but when they race away with it, it's amazing how things go for you when the top sides, when the chips are down, everything seems to go against you.
Well, the mist is swirling into Central Park now. Looks like it might be a difficult journey home for the 12,500 supporters inside the ground today. Hampson to Skerrett, to Panapa, trying to go round Powell. Powell misses him. Well, in the end, the winger Darks doesn't.
It's a convincing scoreline for Wigan, but I'm sure that their coach John Money won't be all that pleased. Neither Wigan and St Helens, I feel, can go into next week's big clash ultra confident.
Well, John Money, being the perfectionist he is, and perhaps there was an element there of Steve McGowan's hand that got that ball away from Neil Cowie, but John Money is a perfectionist, and even when they play near faultless football, as they did in that semi-final last year against Bradford Northern, he still highlighted the mistakes that Wigan have made, and he's got plenty of things to highlight from this one. Fire pinches the ball and sets Wigan rolling forward again. Cowie finds Hampson. Hampson over the top to Bell. The pass stuck. Simpson does well in the tackle. And Simpson, Watson and Summers have worked really hard for Bradford, but Wigan have rolled along towards the leaders at the top of the table. It's all over here at Central Park. Wigan with the victory by 34 points to 16, but credit Bradford for the effort they put in right up to the final siren. A win for Wigan then by 34 points to 16. Jason Robinson's 2 tries, the feature of the match. But as far as Bradford are concerned, well, the result could have gone different had some refereeing decisions gone their way. But for Wigan coach John Money, he was pleased enough with the win.
I said to the players earlier in the week, we had to win on Wednesday, we had to win here today, and then we have to win next Saturday. So, 2 down, 1 to go.
Do you honestly think that the St Helens match was at the back of the players' minds? I know you've tried to play it down.
Well, it's a big game. Anytime we can play St Helens, it's a big game, and the players like it. They like to talk about it, and it's the excitement's there, with the build-up. So it's probably in their minds. I watched Saints play on Friday night, and they were a little off their game as well, and we're probably off our game here a bit today with a few drop balls and handling errors. But like I said, it all points to a good game next week.
But the championship remains your number 1 priority, because you've never lost the championship in all the time you've been here.
Well, I've never lost at Wembley either, so they're both a priority. I'm looking forward to both competitions.
Match facts don't make particularly good reading for John Money. The tackling, though, going Bradford's way, scrums their way too, and penalties, and those 18 handling errors for Wigan, far too many for Money's comfort, but the possession went Wigan's way in each half. So not a classic here at Central Park, and that error count by Wigan, 18, matching equally the number of errors St Helens made in their match on Friday night. And despite Mike Stevenson, what everyone is saying, I think both sides have had their eye on that Challenge Cup tie.
I think it's obviously in the players' minds, and I think it showed both on Friday at St Helens and here today. The problem being is that in the olden days, when I say like 4 or 5 years ago, when Wigan got onto that run, once they got 24 points in front, they would have dug the knife in and really have twisted it. And for some unknown reason, they made so many errors, especially in defence. They allowed Bradford to get back into this game.
Well, I asked you during the commentary who you fancied for the title. You sat on the fence then. Are you going to reveal your hand in any way now?
Well, I thought I did at the start of the season. I always said that St Helens would probably be the only team that could challenge Wigan, and I certainly don't change that attitude. I feel that, points in the bag are a lot better than the team having to chase it. It's going to be very close, though.
It'll go right down to the wire. Confirmation of St Helens' win on Friday, Wigan's today. Castleford have beaten Sheffield 14-8, Halifax 36, Salford 14, Hull KR 16, Leeds 18, a try in the last minute apparently for Leeds. Lee 17, Wakefield 10, and Widnes 22, Hull 4. Positions then at the top of the table, St Helens and Wigan out in front. The championship looks like it rests between those two, Castleford and Leeds. Widnes, Bradford, Halifax and Hull chasing. Down at the bottom, Lee are off the bottom. They've swapped places with Hull Kingston Rovers after their win today. Division 2 results, Bramley 10, Huddersfield 27, Carlisle 14, London Crusaders 28, Featherstone 52, Oldham 14, Rochdale 12, Swinton 32. The championship rests between Featherstone and Oldham. Featherstone did themselves no harm at all with that big win today, and Featherstone and Oldham will be in the First Division next season. I don't think there's much doubt about that. Down at the bottom, Swinton are being left. Third Division, Blackpool 23, Highfield 24, Highfield's first win of the season. Chorley 22, Barrow 20, Dewsbury 2, Workington 15, Hunslet 10, Doncaster 26, Keighley 22, Rydal York 15 and Whitehaven 56, Nottingham 1. Top of the table, Dewsbury out in front by 4 points, Workington behind them. There's a real race going on though for promotion. Workington, Rydal York, Keighley, Whitehaven, Batley, even Doncaster and Hunslet can't be out of it yet. Down at the bottom, Highfield have moved off the bottom thanks to that first win of the season, so Nottingham down in 13th place. It's unlucky for them. Well, it's a Challenge Cup weekend next week.